From a puzzling move to get the point guard in, right when the team had started to get behind Kawhi, to opposition teams defending him by staying as far away as possible, Russell Westbrook had a rough time in Los Angeles while donning the purple and gold. And now, he's finding it hard to fit in while playing for their rivals. Maybe he is the problem. Lakers fans will be laughing and telling their Clippers buddies, "I told you so." And they're right, because Westbrook's time with the Lakers cost him his legacy, big time. Yet, if you don't see him play week in and week out, you wouldn't know anything changed. His limitations on the basketball court have become more pronounced with his age. And it was glaringly obvious that Westbrook just wasn't an effective player anymore. But more than just his impact on the court, Russ was criticized for his negative presence in the dressing room. Things got so bad that he was actually labeled a vampire. Now, while it was a terrible thing to say about the former MVP, the fact is, it's probably true. Don't believe me? Just look at the way the Lakers are thriving with Russ in the rearview mirror. Honestly speaking, the Clippers seem to have made the very same mistake that their LA counterparts did. Eerily enough, they went about it the same way. Let's look at how the two teams compare in their pursuit of Westbrook. When the Lakers first emerged as frontrunners for Russ, most analysts did not like that trade idea. Why? Because he wasn't going to be a good fit, given his poor three-point shooting and ball hogging. Especially on a team that already has LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but zero shooters. Now, it's not exactly the same for the Clippers, but they'd just gotten rid of a similar point guard in John Wall. Having seen that experiment fail, they decided to give a similar washed-up player another shot. Puzzling? You best believe so. But that's not where the similarities end. Do you remember why the Lakers made the move for him? Even though Rob Pelinka, the general manager of the franchise, wasn't convinced, it was because one of their star players pushed for it. Yep, LeBron James almost forced it. The Clippers have done the same, even though the front office wasn't completely sold on it, only because Paul George advised them to do so. Unfortunately, Westbrook's second experiment in Los Angeles seems to be going very similarly to his first one. That's right, 5 straight losses have greeted the Clippers ever since they brought Westbrook in. While it'd be completely unfair to blame all those losses on Russ, he's definitely been one of the major reasons. Why? Well, it's simple. Look at the Clippers before they signed Westbrook. In the 2 games they played before adding him to their team, the Clippers wiped the floor with the defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, only to be at the end of a blowout on the same side 2 weeks later. What changed? Russell Westbrook. The contrast is remarkable. The Clippers scored 134 points in their win over the Warriors. Yet they were kept to a meager 91, with Russ scoring only 8 points in nearly 30 minutes of action, which is absolutely unacceptable. But if you saw the game, you'd have seen why Russ is to blame for the Clippers' shortcomings. I'm sure you must have seen that viral video of Draymond leaving Westbrook open for a 3. That wasn't a one-off instance. It happened a couple of times during the game, and it was obvious that it worked. Because how do you possibly score only 8 points in 28 minutes, while being free for most shots? But the Clippers deserve what's coming for them, because there's no excuse for making the same mistake twice. The world recalls how poorly the Westbrook experiment worked for the Lakers. Everyone does except for the Clippers. Somehow, they missed what was happening in the very building they call home. They forgot how sullen Westbrook would be after the Lakers' wins, when he'd been ignored or left on the bench in the fourth quarter, because that's the only way they'd win games. They completely overlooked the fact that he was truly a divisive figure in the locker room. A well-documented fact, and reported by many insiders, by the way, but the Clippers decided to ignore that too. Russ would be happy after losses when he'd played well, and yet they decided it makes sense to bring him in, risking the team chemistry that they spent years building. The timing makes the whole deal a lot more absurd. After a slow start to the season, the Kawhi-led Clippers were finally getting into their groove. But the front office decided that it made sense to sign the player who had made headlines for all the wrong reasons. From the bricks and the ball hogging to selfishness and the complete lack of awareness about his declining skills. Somehow, everyone saw it except for the Clippers. But maybe they just weren't paying attention to what was going wrong with their rivals. It gets worse though, because the Clippers gave someone a contract who the Lakers had just used a first-round draft pick to get rid of. Just take a moment and think about how terrible the situation must be for Rob Pelinka. Enough has been said about him hogging his draft picks all season long. And he was so done with Russ that he used one of those picks to get rid of him, rather than use it to get a player in and improve the Lakers' fortunes. And I don't need to tell you that the Lakers are one of the worst teams in terms of draft capital. Unbelievable! I mean, the Clippers made the perfect moves on the trade deadline. Their lineup had finally been playing together for years, and the championship pursuit finally seemed to be within grasp and a reality. But what did they do? They go ahead and pull the pin on Russell Westbrook? Yeah, I can't make sense of it, especially on what we've seen of the experiment so far. That said, there's another problem that comes with signing Westbrook. A much less quantifiable issue, but an issue all the same. To put it in simple words, he's cursed. Sure, he may not be able to shoot threes, but he's not the only player who struggles from the range. So we can put this overblown narrative to rest and look at the Westbrook voodoo instead. It's real. There's a reason he's only ever made it to the NBA Finals on one occasion throughout his career, and that was a decade ago. Of course, his team lost. Sure, he's super athletic and ball dominant and can pass, grab rebounds, and even drive to the basket. But nothing will change the fact that he's cursed and will end his career without a ring. If you can't grab one of the top seeds in the West with a decent team while averaging a triple-double, you're not going to win a ring at 34. Not when you're being left open for even mid-range shots at this point. Since their horrid run with Westbrook on the side, the Clippers have managed to turn it around. And currently with Russ, they're 8-8. But that hasn't changed Westbrook's negative impact on the team. It became super evident when the Clippers decided to rest Kawhi Leonard against the Orlando Magic. And Westbrook was given a major role, playing 37 minutes as the Clippers lost 113 to 108. It was another appalling display from Russ, where he went 5 for 14 from the field, missing all 3 of his three-pointers. He ended the night with 14 points and 37 minutes. Given the scoreline, it's obvious that with Kawhi on the team, the Clippers would have cruised to a win. Recently, the Clippers had to rely on 3 players to score 20 points or more to win against the Bulls, because Russ was back to his bricking self, missing all 3 shots from beyond the arc and coming up with 12 points in 33 minutes played. But that's not all. This could be foreshadowing what the fans can expect in the postseason. It looks like whenever Westbrook is playing, the entire team has to put in an extra shift to make up for his negative impact. If the Clippers are to make a deep run in the playoffs this season, they'll need more of the same from the other 4 players on the court. Because Russ won't change. He can't stop bricking. That's all I had on why Russell Westbrook is the cause of the Clippers' recent failures.